Hello, everybody. This is the Chocolate News Podcast. I'm your co-host, John Alexander Reese.
I'm your co-host, Andria Carter.
And if you didn't know, the Cincinnati Herald has been around since 1955 and is the leading African-American owned newspaper in the greater Cincinnati area and northern Kentucky area. So today, our special guest is Dr. Patrick Barrow, and he is an author and the pastor of the ALMS Christian Church. How are you doing today, sir?
Doing well.
That is fantastic. So before we start Chocolate News, I just wanted to talk to Andrea and see how you're doing. So how's it going, Andrea?
It's going fine. I'm slowly getting back into the swing of things. Last week we were coming back from New Year's and the holidays and all that rigmarole, and I'm now back into the swing of things, getting, going steady with work and catching up on a lot of other volunteer aspects, and just getting back into the groove of life.
Yes, and I'm hoping winter ends soon so we can get to spring and then summer, but I may be ahead of myself.
I think you're way ahead of yourself. I think Mother Nature, because it's been so warm, has set us up. So I think we have a few more cold months ahead, but hopefully the groundhog will see a shadow, so we'll get it over early as you just wished. So
here's hoping. So Andrea, what is the chocolate news of the week?
Well, we've had a lot of good news this week, and a lot of, how shall we say, comeuppance of a lot of things. But also, I would think the biggest news, the beginning of, is a star has been born in Hakeem Jeffries.
Oh, yes.
I think he is the first Black person to lead a political party in the House, in Congress. He's leading the Democrats, and his mentor is Nancy Pelosi, so he's getting good solid wisdom, and he's got Clyburn and other folks all leading him. He got nominated to be Speaker of the House, the first time ever a Black person's been nominated to be Speaker of the House, and he held his votes every single time. The Democrats were united behind him, but I think what really came out of it was his speech after McCarthy won the speakership, what he did to talk about what the future of the America is looking at. But I think when he started doing the ABCs and he broke down America through the ABCs, which, blew me away. 1:00 in the morning, I'm listening to this man speak, and I'm like, is he doing the alphabet? And it wasn't until I heard a commentator say, that was the alphabet. And I was like, oh my God, that was the alphabet. So I encourage everyone to go to C-SPAN, hear his speech, listen to what he says, A through Z. If you can't find it, it's on our website. I have a link to it. If you just click on the highlighted Representative Hakeem Jeffries, you'll get straight to the video on our website. It is something awesome. People on Twitter have been taking it and putting music. They put Nas music to his speech. And, it's really cool if you can find it on Twitter. It's fantastic. So I encourage everyone, not only listen to this man, but if you ever get a chance to see him in person, meet him, because I think we're looking at a future president, personally.
Wow.
You just never know. That's my opinion.
Okay.
Also, in terms of leadership and politics, Alicia Reese is county president of the county commissioners. She is the second Black woman to hold that position after Stephanie Dumas. Stephanie gave her a gavel when she was elected president of the commissioners, even though Stephanie gave her a smaller gavel than her big gavel. So I thought that was very funny and very amusing. But, it's a nice combination for Alicia to be seen as president of county commissioners. And she's going to be giving a state of the county speech at Memorial Hall at the end of the month. So I think that's going to be very interesting to see and hear, because I don't think anyone has ever done a State of the County speech. Actually, it's going to be delivered on January 31st. So that's going to be something interesting to go to and hear. And she's been amazing. And she has been trying to better the county and the city for everyone involved. So it's just going to be interesting. Sky's the limit for this young lady. So we're just going to have to keep watching Alicia. We got good news this week. Damar Hamlin went home. I don't mean he left UC Medical and flew home to Buffalo. I mean, he got to Buffalo. He was in a hospital for 2 days. He went home today. And so he's going to start his recuperating you now will start recuperating with the Buffalo Bills. It will be seen whether or not he's going to go back and play football. I think, they might say he might recover and be fine, but he just has to, maybe he might need extra padding to play, and or he may not be able to take another hit because of it was a freak accident. It happened, but it depends on how strong he comes back, both not only physically, but mentally. Where is he going to be, in the coming days? So it's going to be interesting to watch his recovery and see what they have to say. Another good news, Rickell Howard Smith, who ran for juvenile judgeship. And even though she lost that race, I think she came out even better because she is now the first Black woman to be president of the YWCA. So she left her position as executive director of the Center for Social Justice that was with the Urban League. And now she is taking on that mission of social justice and women's issues on a higher calling as with the YWCA. So it's going to be very interesting to see what this young woman does down the road. I'm all for Rickell. I hope she does well. And I can't wait to see what she does with this position. All of this to say comes to the fun, the joy. The red carpet alone was fantastic to watch in terms of the Golden Globes. A couple of people could have gone home with the dress they had on. Other people look very, very sharp. The red carpet isn't for another day. But I think the Golden Globes, once they got through the heavy emotional talk about diversity and why they're here and who got chosen for what, it was a good show. And Abbott Elementary cleaned up.
They did. They really did. The creator, Quinta Brunson, who's also the lead in that show, not only did it win Outstanding Comedy Series, she also won Lead Actress in a Comedy Series. And then my biggest surprise, Tyler James Williams won for Supporting Actor for a comedy, which I did not see coming. So that's good for him because he's been in the business ever since Everybody Hates Chris. So that is so good for him.
That is good. And I mean, and on top of that, she had a fabulous dress on too. I can just say that.
Yes, definitely.
Oh, I mean, it was very burlesque-esque, but it was a decent burlesque-esque type of dress. And she was very gracious. I think everyone, talked about Eddie Murphy's speech, even though it ended on a bad note. But a lot of speeches ended on a bad note. They talked about various things. But I think overall, the Golden Globes, hopefully the foreign press has been educated going forward that this won't happen again, but you never know. Yeah. So, but I'm glad to see Golden Globes back, and it was a great night.
Yeah, but one more thing I want to add to those, Angela Bassett won too for her supporting role in
Didn't
Black
she
Panther.
look good?
Oh my goodness, I didn't recognize her at first. That's Angela Bassett. I said, wow.
I mean,
it's true. Black don't crack.
Oh,
if there's
hair,
an example of that, that's Angela Bassett.
She was classy. Her hair, her dress, her mannerisms, everything. So I think, is this the beginning of what we might see at the Oscars? Is this the beginning of what we might see at the Emmys?
Most likely.
So, I mean, this is the beginning of award season, so to speak. So we'll just have to see what happens and go from there, because we got the Grammy. What is up next? The Grammys?
I'm pretty sure the Oscars are the SAG Awards, like the Screen Actors Guild Awards, are up next. And then finally the Oscars are somewhere in March. I don't know. It's way too late, but but the Oscars are the end game. So hopefully Angela Bassett wins, because she deserves an Oscar for her long career.
And I didn't realize she was the first person from all the Marvel movies to win a Golden Globe. That hold on.
I think Chadwick Boseman won. Chadwick won, but she will be the second though.
Oh, she'll be the second.
She is the second. Yes.
Mm-hmm. I think she's the first woman.
Yeah, the woman. Yeah, woman.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So, but I mean, overall, that is, so it's been a very interesting, fun, emotional, moving. I mean, watching hear about Damar going home, watching across the NFL, all upholding him in spirit. The Bengals wearing the shirt "Love for Damar" with the number 3 on it. I think it's just been, everyone has been affected by what happened to him.
Yeah.
And I think also, as one person said, that, there's been a lot of injuries this year with the NFL. There's a lot of repercussions and a lot of side effects from playing for the NFL.
Yeah.
So, but I just think overall, I'm just glad to see him up and alive and walking. So, and
Yeah.
that is the it for the chocolate news this week.
Thank you very much, Andrea. Appreciate it. So now we're moving on to our main topic, which is Dr. Patrick Barrow. I just want to reintroduce you again, sir. How's it going?
Doing well, doing well. Excited to be on the podcast. Excited about what I'm hearing in the community and hearing the discussions we have heard to this point, and excited to talk about what I've been doing.
Well, of course, Dr. Barrow is the pastor of ALMS Christian Church, but he is also an author, and he's written several books. And one of the books we're going to talk about today is Discovering How We Must Save Us for Yourself. So, Dr. Barrow, can you give us a little bit of information about that book?
It all began with a radio broadcast. I was in my car, and one of the radio hosts stated, "I don't know what we're going to do about all this teenage violence that's going on." And the person seemed to be somewhat hopeless when they said that. And so I took that as a call to action and began to do some research. And I found that there was a lot of teenage violence going on. And so I began to look at some of the root causes. And I already had a series of books. They're called the Discovering for Yourself series. And so I had 5 before I began to do this work. And so a couple of statistics that I think help us understand the plight of our teenagers. And I learned that 75% of male incarcerations are incarcerations that have no high school diploma. 75%. So when you think about that, you say, okay, well, a young person, a teenager drops out of high school, and what are they going to do? What are they going to do for revenue or income? And so that limits them, and they can pursue illegal activities, and that could lead to incarceration. So that's one area that I found. Then on the female end, which is really a no-brainer, if we have teenage pregnancies, that's gonna alter or hinder the future of a female teenager that intends to go to college. It's just, in my mind, it's a tough, but not impossible, but tough. A burden of love, but also a burden of responsibility. So I began to write the book that we just mentioned, Discovering How We Must Save Us for Yourself. And so one of the things that had a positive impact on me was that when I was a younger person, there was a man at the Melrose Y. His name was Mr. Vinegar. I don't know if anyone's heard that name before, but he had a station wagon, and what he would do he would go out and pick up some of the young persons like myself, and he would take us to the Y, and he would take us to see the Royals. If any of you remember them, they're a Cincinnati basketball team from years back. And
yeah, I vaguely heard of them. Yeah.
The main thing was that he invested his own time, invested his own money, and just that intersection with him, I believe, had a great impact on my life. So as I'm kind of going down this path, writing the book and completing the book, and we had a couple of seminars at our church called Next Generation Strong, which is the opposite of Next Generation Week, obviously. And so we had 2 seminars, and after the seminars, are like, okay, we've done enough seminars. We got to get out and do some face to face. And so I believe that in the spirit that we can as believers penetrate. I'm going to use the word penetrate, or into another realm around. I don't know if I'm explaining that well, but that's what I believe. As a believer, if we focus and meditate and seek God sincerely, that we can penetrate into another realm and have a great impact. I believe that.
Right.
And so I became a member of the YMCA in the community that I live in back in the summer. And so I began to, work out and do my normal thing. And so I was there at about 3:00 in the afternoon. And when I came out to the lobby, it was all these young people. And I was like, here they are. And the Spirit told me, here they are. And so when you're penetrating into another realm, and you're in a spiritual warfare or a spiritual battle, you've got to realize that you're going to have some pushback. So with that being anticipated, I began to talk with some of the leadership at the YMCA, and they kind of put me off here, and that's just natural. They began to put me off a little bit here, put me off a little bit there, and I continued to knock on the door, and then I got to the next level administrator and talked with that person and share with them about the book and what I wanted to do, and it was it was a divine appointment, because they realized, the leader realized that they had some struggle there, in which they needed help with the younger people, primarily African American, that were coming from most coming from Colerain High School to the YMCA.
Right.
So we agreed to meet. That was at the end of the 2022 year. We made an appointment to meet early in 2023. Immediately, I told them what I wanted to do, be there a couple of days, and begin to talk to the young people. And so for about the last month or so, or within this month, I began to come there to the YMCA 2 days a week at the time that they get out of school, which is 3:00. I stopped by the Dollar General and get some of the little cake donuts and chocolate donuts. I get 4 bags of them.
Yeah.
And I take those and put them out on the table, and they've just fallen in love with me, and I fell in love with them, and we've started a great relationship. And it's just a God thing, because from the radio conversation, the call to service, and writing the book and doing the research on what kind of things that the young African Americans are dealing with, such as teenage violence, teenage suicide, adult child role reversal, and lack of direction. It's just been a blessing for me and a blessing for them, I believe. And so we're off and running, so to speak. And I give God all the praise, I give him all the glory. And that's where we're at. Any questions?
I do have one question.
Sure.
So what has the response been, not only with the kids, but also from the book? Because I know you've this is like I believe this is the 6th book you've written, right?
Actually, so it's one, and again, it's a series,
Okay.
discovering these different principles, and it's for yourself. I mean, So that's the series. 6 books are for a more mature audience, and I have one children's activity book that is based on the Lord's Prayer.
Gotcha. That's
The
great.
books are available on Amazon, and to get directly to the books, if you have an Amazon account, you type in Dr. or Dr. space Patrick space Barrow space DTH. It'll take you directly to the books.
Right. And for folks listening, we'll make sure to put all that information in the bio, so you can just click on the link and just directly get the book.
Great.
Now I do have another question.
Okay.
Are you this isn't your final book, right? You're going to continue the series.
No, it's
right?
it's a series, and so I have on the back burner, I have 3 others that I'm editing. So I'm just gonna keep on going as long as the Lord gives me these different social issues, in this case, to deal with, in other areas of Christian edification. I'm just gonna keep going.
Right. Now, what
One
other
one thing I
social?
should say. Let me say this.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
I worked at General Electric for I retired from General Electric after 30 years. It was a very competitive environment, a very stressful environment, and a very
Yeah.
challenging environment. And you are built or trained or groomed there to execute. And so I've taken that approach to my work in ministry and writing. At General Electric, I received a patent for some of the work that I did there,
Oh, wow.
and it took a lot of concentration and meditation, and of course the grace of God. And so I applied that approach in ministry and youth development, and just really I'm trying to tell them and teach them the same things that they have to execute. I'm talking to them about grades and what they want to do after high school, and it's about execution. And so I hold myself to deadlines. I want to, when I'm working on a book, I set a time that I want to be done with it, and I hold myself to it. And so I tell my young people that I'm in competition with myself. I want to keep executing and doing the work of the ministry, and having an impact on our next generation youth. So I was built that way by that company, and I want to continue to execute and help that generation. They are not hopeless, and so I have this little quote that I have. The worst thing we can do is nothing. The least we can do is pray. So if you're not in a position yourself where you can reach out to youth in your family, or if you are in a position where you can reach out to youth in your family, you direct them towards me if I can communicate with them a little better than you can. But I believe that there's no such thing as a hopeless situation. But you can I believe I can address and have an impact.
That's great. That really is fantastic. It seems like you're going above and beyond to address this, very serious problem that teens are having and everything. That's all I got. Andrea, do you have anything to add?
No, he answered all of my questions, and it sounds fabulous. And down the road, we'll have to bring him back to hear the success stories and everything as he continues to do this work.
Yeah, I definitely want to see what kind of success you have, because you're doing the good Lord's work. So thank you for that. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate the opportunities that the Herald has provided. I believe that there will be an article, the 21st is what Michelle has uh, told me, and we'll feature the book. And thank you for this podcast, and thank you for those that have heard. And I believe God is going to open up more doors, and you'll hear more about this. I just believe I believe He will.
Now, Dr. Burr, are you on any kind of social, like where can people follow you? You know, it's like where you can spread the good word.
You know what? I was excited about being a part of this podcast, and I told Michelle, I told her I'm not really familiar with podcasts and how they work. And right now at our church, we've established a media ministry. We're not a large congregation, so but a couple of our younger people with those sharp minds and know how to get on the computer and make it do what they wanted to do. We've got a couple of them. And so we've started this media ministry, and I'm beginning to stream on YouTube. And I just envision being on all of the platforms as time proceeds into this year.
Well, we'll definitely put the link to your book in the bio and everything. And
okay, I appreciate it.
Yeah, and I want to thank you again for coming on, Pastor. Greatly appreciate it.
Appreciate you too.
The world needs more. The world definitely needs more kinder people like you, because that's sadly lacking in today's climate. And I also want to thank Andria for coming on and spreading the good chocolate news. Thank you so much, Andria.
Oh, it was my pleasure.
And that's it for today's show, folks. And remember, you can find more information about today's topics and past podcast episodes at www.thecincinnatiherald.com, the newsletter, or on our social media. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And make sure to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite podcast app. Our podcast is on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn Radio, Amazon, YouTube, and Google Podcasts. In addition, the Cincinnati Herald is now looking for news distribution and delivery agents. Please contact our publisher, Walter White, at 513-680-7076 for more information. I'm John Alexander Reese.
And I'm Andria Carter.
And have a good day.